Roadshow kickoff for our Spring 23 series. We have got uh, we've got an exciting series planned for you all. We have a series of 5 engagements, and then we had so much excitement around the 5 engagements planned. We've added on 3 more. So this is our initial kickoff with our Azure OpenAI service topic, which everyone is so excited to hear about. We've got exciting speakers planned for today. Bala will lead us in our technical discussion and demo, and Varu will kick us off with some industry information and where Microsoft is in our AI journey and how we're helping customers to advance their journey as well. And Varu, if you can go to slide. Oh, here we go. Here's a little bit about your speakers and how you can go ahead and get connected to them. You do have the ability to connect with us through chat through this entire session. We have Brian Harrison and Sabrantsu here also to help moderate the chat and answer your questions throughout the engagement. If there is a question that we are not able to answer in today's session directly, we will be sending a follow-up email to all of the attendants today and people who are not able to make it today as well, with a link to our deck, a link to our recording of today's session, and some key takeaways, as well as maybe some frequently asked questions or something like that, with some resource links that are shared in today's exchange. So this is intended to be interactive in the way that we want to be here as a communication channel for you to learn about Azure OpenAI. So please raise your hand or put your question in the chat. We do have a tight schedule, so we're going to try and keep to the presentation and demo and leave questions to the end. But if there is something that you have that you feel is better to address during the session, please raise your hand and we will respectfully pause the presentation to address that. Without further ado, if we can go to slide 2, Varu, please. So if you have not already registered for future sessions, we've got a series coming up. There is a break in between for everyone who might be having spring break at different times. There's a little bit of a gap in between our third and fourth session. So that's why you see that there. But we do have pretty consistent engagement scheduled. So building intelligent applications with Azure Cognitive Services, Databricks Data Science and Engineering, analytics with Synapse, Power BI, and Azure ML. That's more like a cloud scale analytic forum. And then we have SQL IaaS migration and SQL 22 with Azure Arc scheduled for the end of April. So all really exciting topics. If you haven't registered already, you can go ahead and scan that QR code, or I will drop the link to register for those engagements in the chat for you. And then, Varu, if you can go to the next slide. We have 3 additional engagements planned for to extend the conversation from today. So today we're focusing on Azure OpenAI Service, and these engagements are really tailored to Azure OpenAI Service use cases and how we're seeing customers adopt the technology to advance their business. And so we have AI-powered call center intelligence, anomaly detection and report generation, and cognitive search with OpenAI service conversations planned through May and June. So if you haven't already registered for those, I did send out the registration form to all of the people who've responded to this form to register for this session today, but I will put that in the chat if you missed that email. And without further ado, I will pass the mic over to Varu, who will start to lead the conversation. Oh, good point, Varu. There is a feedback form. So if you are not able to stay till the end, it's really important that we do capture everyone's feedback from these sessions. It really does help us to prepare better material or to deliver the material that you are all looking for. So I will also be pasting that in the chat. If you are able to stay till the end, I will do it again at the end, but please, as part of your attendance, we ask that you provide some feedback for the session. And now I will pass it over to Varu. Varu,
Can
you
you
are
hear me?
muted. Yep,
Sure.
there you go.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everybody. Thanks for joining us at these exciting times. My name is Viru Merji. I'm a data and AI specialist focused on OpenAI here to talk to you about some exciting new features and releases that we are making as we speak. This month has been amazing in terms of activity. I'm going to introduce a couple of other people also who will be supporting us today. One is Bala Murugan Balakrishnan. He is a principal cloud solution architect who's going to help us with some demonstrations and technical discussions that we're going to have today. And we also have Subhranshu Sahu. He is going to support us in the chat session as well and any questions that you have as a solution architect. So we're trying to keep the mix here in terms of having a good focus on business as well as technology and kind of bridge the gap between the two and ensure that you get what you need out of this session. Subhranshu, if you don't mind, please do publish that survey when you can so that we can get to know more about our attendees and what they are interested in today. So
I'll do that. Yeah.
yeah, I'll let Subhranshu do that. So let's get started very well here with the first piece, which is all about where Microsoft is going, what is our mission, and what are we trying to do here. We want to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. And part of that overall mission statement is enabled through the AI platform, allowing developers, data scientists, business users, managers, people who are in the field, sales, marketing, every possible group to use AI powered applications, which will help them be more productive. And that's really the goal. What we are talking about here is ensuring that, you know, you've seen that cartoon, perhaps you've seen the cartoon before. I will mention it. AI is not replacing our jobs, it's just making us ready for AI jobs. So we need to get ready and we need to think about what are the tools we can use. And today at Microsoft, we are trying to shape the world with our own form of AI that we will show you today. I hope this makes sense. It's an incredible mission. You might have all heard about Satya speaking about this, Brad Smith on 60 Minutes recently. You know, all of our executives are now aligned to ensuring that we put a lot of investment and make sure you get an AI platform as a whole in a very responsible and ethical manner for your purpose, for your specific commercial use case. So what's that brief history, right, of artificial intelligence? I won't go into too much detail here. There's a lot since the days of McCarthy in 1956, but machine learning, if you think about it, is a very hot area in which we have deep learning. And within deep learning, what we're going to talk a lot about today, OpenAI, is usually denoted with generative AI as the key focus area. So what we mean by generative AI is really, really important. It's like, think about AI in the past. It was helping us in certain ways to take data and model it and use it for recommendations, predictions. But now we have large language models. Now we have large scale models pre-trained and available for you so that we can generate new content as well. So you see the survey questionnaire which has popped up in front of you from Polly. These are the popular use cases we think of. But so I'd like to get your insight, your input as to what is of importance to you and where are you going to spend your time in the next 2 or 3 weeks or 2 or 3 months, as you say, as you go along this journey of experimentation with OpenAI. So I'm going to leave this for now, the screen. I hope you guys can see it. Um, if anybody has an issue, yeah, perfect. Thank you for acknowledging that. I'll move to the next part of the screen, which is what are we doing at Microsoft? We are trying to reduce your workload. We are trying to reduce and optimize the way you're training ML models, the way you're using transformers, the way you're using all the GAN, generative adversarial networks. We are trying to build models as a platform so that you will focus more on the core competency that you have, which is on using the system for building new applications or for generating new code or for helping your employees do much better. And so models as a platform is a new wave of applications. You've heard of services, you've heard of platforms as a service, but this is models as a platform. And I hope this will help you think broadly about how Microsoft is approaching this. And we have done years and years of research in AI. You can see some of the popular models shown here from Microsoft Research here: Turing model, Zcode, Florence. But now we have partnered with OpenAI in such a way that we are bringing GPT models, DALI models, and Codex models to the forum as part of Azure Cognitive Services that you can use in applied AI. And you can see in this one picture, it kind of gives you a quick idea of how all of these fit together. To keep it simple, I would request you to think of GPT or ChatGPT as services which are essentially part of Azure Cognitive Services with the same amount of security governance that Azure Cognitive Services provide. I'm sure many of you all are using some of these services today: vision service, speech service, language service. The GPT model is essentially a language service, a large pre-trained model that you can use here. The DALI model is more about images and generating new images, and Codex is the one for generating code. So we'll go into the details of that in a minute, but I'd like to show you the scale at which this is operating. If you think about AI at scale, initially when we started off with GPT some time back, and there were a lot of founders for this, right? The researchers, even before OpenAI was created as a company, the number of parameters were limited, hyperparameters for tuning, for improving the model. And as we went along, we've added more and more parameters. So GPT-3 that's available today has 175 billion parameters that is trained on using external data. We also have Megatron Turing, which is 530 billion. So you can see the amount of research that has gone through. We have newer models coming in very soon: GPT 3.5, GPT 4, and each one of these will advance, the AI mission even further. We are going to add more sophistication, but more simplicity as well in the form of interaction. And that's where we are at the crucial point of consumption increase here, where everybody's talking about ChatGPT. And why are they talking about ChatGPT? Because it's made it really easy to use AI models, large language models, and then use that in such a way that it helps you in becoming more productive. So I'll pause here for a minute. I just want you to see that there's a lot of effort behind this, and the focus is on responsible AI, ethical AI as well. So we are trying to make sure whatever you get in your uh, environment, Azure tenant subscription environment, is completely secure, safe, usable, fine-tunable, modifiable, so that you can control the amount of tuning you want to do on these models to expose it to your customers. The traditional way of thinking about AI was always that it was purpose built, and so you only use a subset of data, trained your models in that specific way, and then used it specifically for predicting, let's say, sales, right? Or predicting or sales forecasting or things like that, right? Applications which would give you anomaly detection for a specific area using a specific set of data. Now, when we operate at a massive scale here, massive models, these models are pre-trained. And so you're not wasting that much amount of time or effort on trying to deploy, train, and then deploy these out into the market. They're able to multitask, they have multi-domain focuses, and the benefit is much more than ever before, seen ever before. This is the traditional model. I'm not going to spend much time on it, but you probably have seen this, whether it is for tagging services or spatial and analysis services or accessibility services like we use in PowerPoint and Office, or for any other kind of services. This is the crucial thing to note, right? That was the traditional way. Take some data, go through this exercise in a linear way, and come out with the result. Now, it's completely different. If you think about these pre-trained models have a lot of data already available, and they're multitask, multimodal in nature, right? That's the key difference here. So you could use it for multiple use cases at the same time, whether it's image captioning, object recognition, sentiment analysis, question and answering, all of the things that you did before, now you can do much better because you don't have to spend as much time on modeling and improving the data that goes in it. So how have we enabled this? This is really important to note, right? We have enabled this through a very strategic partnership with OpenAI. OpenAI founders have worked closely with us. We've spent about $11 billion of investment here now in this space just to focus on making it safe, secure, reusable, and maybe scalable at a higher level than it is today, where it is today. If you go to ChatGPT and use, you will see some capacity issues. We are trying to take those issues out of the game here to make it more reliable and flexible. So we've announced all these new features, GPT-3 type of features, also in our products. Cortana, the Power Virtual Agents, Dynamic 365. I'll cover all of that in a minute, but you can see that we are using it first for our own products to improve our products, but we want to offer the same benefit to you at large. Think about Bing, think about Word, Outlook, Teams, SharePoint, Dynamics, LinkedIn, GitHub, right? For code generation, all of them have started using these GPT models to improve the way we can make recommendations or suggestions on, leveraging what's available to you here to improve your productivity. Now, it goes beyond that. I'm sure you have heard about the press release we did just yesterday on Dynamics 365. We are adding a co-pilot in there to help with Dynamics 365 for CRM and ERP applications. The same thing applies now for any chatbot, PBA kind of agent. And this service is basically using the Azure OpenAI service, which is generally available today. So I know I'm going at a fairly high speed, but I want you to see the demo. So I want to get through all the basics here. So you see the applications and the intent behind it and the common use cases that you'll see today. Some of these are the companies who have already published OpenAI related applications out there, and they're continuously improving it with the new versions of GPT models that are coming through. So when we talk about OpenAI, it fits right here in the customizable AI model section as a cognitive service. And I'm just trying to point this out to you with my pointer here. I hope you can see that. It's right here. It will be considered like a language model, but eventually when we add DALI, when we add other kind of features, you'll see more and more. The preview of DALI 2 is going on right now, and it will improve and become even better as we go along. So it will follow the same rules as we did with other cognitive services. We have GPT-3 models generating and understanding text. We have Codex models generating and understanding code. We have DALI previews available to you to generate images and text prompts from text prompts, actually. And then ChatGPT, the preview which is coming. I know many of you all are waiting eagerly for this like interactive chat bot oriented feature, and it's going to come out at the end of this month. Before the end of this quarter is the promise Microsoft has made to the world. So we are going to use that opportunity to continuously improve on what is already published out there that you see in a public version today out with OpenAI. It's going to become more secure, more reliable, more capacity focused, production focused, with all the right governance controls in place so that you can do a better job in deploying these solutions. So these are the 4 different examples. I just want to show you. You're going to see a quick demo of this very soon. But essentially in GPT-3, if you type something up, write a tagline for an ice cream shop, it gives you a tagline for marketing. That's a marketing use case. Codex, if you type in some, instructions to say, give me a SQL query, it will generate a SQL query for you based on the parameters you describe. You can even eliminate or, make sure that conditions are included in an English-like format to say, don't do this, or do not do this, or tell me that you cannot do this, or I don't know. And all of those things Bala is going to talk about in a minute. Finally, DALI is to generate images. And so, you type something, white Siamese cat, and you get an image of that. Now you can be very creative and use it for advertising, use it for sales. You can use it to generate new works of art. And then ChatGPT is very colloquial and conversational in nature. So you can see that it will interact and respond back to your questions, which are very popular applications today, as we see. So these are the four OpenAI services that are being released. As you can see, they are deployed within your Azure subscription. They are secured by you and your IT teams. Make sure that it is accessed only by the relevant people. There's role-based access available for that and control, and that they are tied to only your data sets. I want to reassure you that none of the data that you submit in there is being used by Microsoft to train our models. Ours are pre-trained models. If you can understand, they are large pre-trained AI models. And when you set it up in your subscription, you'll be able to add your data sets and fine tune it to your needs, as mentioned over here, with your own parameters that you want to focus on. So I'll just pause here for a minute so that you can read it, and then we'll move on to the next slide. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the chat window, and Subhranshu and Bala are more than happy to respond to them. Okay, moving to this. This is just showing you the types of GPT models available to you. It's an important point to consider because each of these models have a specific focus or a purpose and a lower cost if you're focusing only on that purpose. So think of Ada. It's all about simple classification and parsing of text. Babbage is all about semantic search ranking and complex classification too. Curie is about answering questions and some more nuanced classification. And DaVinci, which is the one that is used by ChatGPT a lot, is focused on summarizing and generating creative content, even handling complex question and answers, which you'll see in the demo very soon. On the right side, you see Codex. We have two models, Cushman Codex and DaVinci Codex, and they have different capabilities too. The reason I'm showing this to you is because when you use it in your tenant, in your environment, you may choose to use a lower end model initially to get started. It's always wise to do that if you have a specific focus in mind. If your application is more general purpose, like sales offers or bid creation or some kind of marketing, you could generally use what comes out of the box, but it would perhaps require DaVinci model there for summarizing it and making it easy to use. But please consider the cost aspect along with it. If you use Curie or Babbage, it's much lower in cost than DaVinci or the new ChatGPT models that are coming out. And we definitely have the same application for DALL-E 2 that's happening. So considering these things, look at the screen, look at the possibilities. It's amazing, whether it's essays or, for consumers and students, or whether it's code generation, or whether it is code refactoring or answering questions, whether it's poem, whether it's image generation. There are so many possible angles to using this. There are limitless use cases. In fact, since the last month, in our own engineering team, in our own products team, to improve our own products, we have kind of discovered tens or 20 different new use cases that are coming up, which we will hopefully templatize and expose it to you as well, so you can benefit from all of those new use cases that are possible. Just to give you a few quick examples here, Power BI is already able to generate DAX expressions using natural language. And this is the simplest example I can give you, where it's an embedded interface inside Power BI. On the right side, it's like a co-pilot feature that you're seeing in Dynamics 365. It's the most useful thing I can think of in reducing the time it takes to generate these expressions and use it in your practical day-to-day life. The same thing, if you think about it from a Power Platform perspective, whether it is Power FX formulas or any new kind of PVA virtual agent functionality, it will help you generate those code pieces and give you a recommendation saying, hey, you could use this, and then you can fine tune and improve it. Always remember, the human has to be in the loop. At least for now, we are far away from AGI, where the AI can do everything by itself. We are very, very far from that notion of completeness. So you have to do human checks. You have to review the output that's coming and make sure that it's useful in your specific context or need. So I'm not going to click on all the other options here, but I do want to give you a quick flavor that in GitHub Copilot, which was the very first application of Codex for Microsoft, we saw a huge uplift in the amount of productivity, the number of lines of code, the number of users, the developers feeling happier and happier that they're able to use this tool so that they can, do things much more efficiently and faster without having to read thousands of books or manuals, right? You can do all of this stuff. It gives you suggestions for functions, it gives recommendations, and all of this available through links that you can access online over here. So I'm going to pass the mic over to Bala now, who's going to show you a demo on these primary use cases. Bala, over to you.
Thank you, Vero. Can you all see the screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I'm gonna switch this to the presentation mode. Give me 1 second.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
perfect. If you have any questions, stop and ask me. So I'm going to go cover some of the use cases that what we are seeing, and I'm going to show you an high-level demo on what the API can do. Hopefully, this is very informational for you folks. Okay, so let's talk about some of the use cases. The major use case that we see are going to be coming in through like, oh, wait, hang on. Okay, perfect. So our repeated major use cases that we see are in that call center analytics space. There are two ways that we can tackle the call center analytics, and one of them is like getting real-time feedback. Like when the call is happening, you can find out sentiments, or you can actually summarize the content as you're going. Or if the call is done, then summarize the content and store it somewhere. The second one that we see a lots and lots is like personalized content, like sending twitters or writing blogs, or even writing your own custom emails. Like for example, in my I mean, Viru can vouch for this. Like in some of our emails that we send out, I can ask the OpenAI to write me the email and send it out because it comes up with a nice formation of it. It's pretty cool. Um, the next one is like this is more on the summarization side, but it's on the bad side. Like when the call center is done, you collect so many audios, you can use our cognitive services to convert from the voice to text, and then use the cognitive service to summarize and save it somewhere. Or you can also do summarization of large scale documents like PDF documents. I was testing the our government's responsible AI document they put out like 78 pages, took that and summarized it. And also, of course, for the social media one. So now these are all part of like what we call the Azure OpenAI, which is the GPT-3 model. Now, this one is very interesting because this is code generation. We use this. I personally use this every day with my Visual Studio Code. You probably would have known as GitHub Copilot, but you can also do strategy-based SQL. So you can specify in natural language what you want to create, and it can write the SQL statements. Now, remember, the AI is only helping augmenting a human. It's not going to do anything. We have to do it, but AI can help us how we can do it. And then code documentation is another area that we see a lot. This one, semantic search, is something we see a lot more. Most of the use cases where they want to do like embedding search and things like that falls under here. We, as you all know, we have a lot of cops of information that we have to go through, and this is a wonderful place to start with. Now, what does happen is like these are some of the use cases, but we also see end-to-end application getting integrated. That means your AI is not just the open AI is not going to do everything for us, but it can get integrated into your call center analysis or customer 360 view or your business process automation. All these are business processes that you can integrate the same API in multi different tasks, and you can actually leverage it. That's the idea of GPT 3.0. It's like we expose that as an API, so you can also integrate it in your own application. Now I'm going to flash another slide. This is talks about like other use cases, what we are seeing. I'm sure like Viru was alluding to, this list is going to grow more and more and more. Um, Keep that in mind. But again, if you see most of it, we'll be seeing it in that call center transcription, document summarization, getting survey feedback forms, and processing feedback forms and deriving insights. Those are some of the things that we see a lot, especially with the search and text embedding and things like that. We do also see a lot in the employee productivity. This is where the M365 data comes in play. And it also allows us to do like email writing, or writing insights for customer based on their own on their interaction in the email. Things like that is also going to be possible soon. Now, we do also see some more use cases. These are just popping up in different industry like law, education, and medical, like copywriting, coding, customer support. So these are some of the use cases that we are seeing. Now I'm going to go into what ChatGPT is. So there is a difference between what GPT right now, what we have, and what is ChatGPT. Um, Very simple differentiation is like ChatGPT is extremely useful if your use case is pertain to conversation type interfaces. It may not happen every time, but wherever you have like a conversation, two-way conversation happening, ChatGPT is extremely productive and it's super useful. Now, is that the only thing? No. For other use cases is what we created the GPT-3 model, which is our, you heard Da Vinci, Ada, Babbage, and all of those things. Those can be integrated into your existing application, and also you can create brand new application out of it. So be very clear with that. Now I'm going to show you what are the different flavors we have in Azure Chat GPT. Like you can do contextual conversation. Of course, you can write code, storytelling, poem writing, quiz, summarization. These are some of the options that we have in the same. I mean, you can do it in the same model, or you can also pick and choose the model. DaVinci being the most. So I'm going to show you how DaVinci is going to perform, and we'll see a demo as well later in the case. Now, there is this concept of prompt engineering that you're going to see a lot again and again. This is where the language model is so powerful. Like if we ask the right questions, it will give us it'll give you the right answers. Will it be super accurate? No, but it is pretty awesome. Try it. There is an entire engineering called prompt engineering that you can actually figure out how to ask the question, and you can also give some examples, like one shot, few shots they call it. You can give some samples and tell the model like, hey, based on like these samples or from this document, pull up some stuff. You can do all those things without fine tuning the model. The completion model is basically like the completion is where, like, if we give the sentence and if you say like, okay, now go finish the sentence for me, it is going to come up and fill up the sentences. That's the completion model. Now let's look at some sample architecture. So this one, one of you asked, like, we're going to share the PPT. We will. So you will get this. We see this pattern a lots and lots. The pattern is like you have large corpus of data, take it, we use our Azure Form Recognizer to extract the pages, and then we can use that into Azure Cognitive Search to build a search index. And then you will have a function app that can actually, from a website, when you query, it will query the cognitive services documents, and then it'll actually create embeddings, and it'll take uh, and it'll match through the embeddings, and then it'll list down the top. So for example, you get 20 documents coming in the query output from cognitive search. The embedding search will reduce it to the top 5, and then you can summarize it and give targeted answer. So remember, usually, including me, I'm very used to go bing it and see like, hey, how many, what is this? And it's going to give me like a bunch of documents, a bunch of search links. I have a choice to go look at each one of them, or I can go to this new Bing Chat GPT and I ask the same question and it'll give me the answer, targeted answer right away. So think about how much productive that I can be, right? Now, is this service being like this, and is it brand new, as you know? But we are serious because some of our customers are using. Like CarMax is one of the best example. They took all the car information and they summarized it. This is one of the biggest project that our product team was working on, and basically they're summarizing all the information that are available in their websites, and they're making it much faster searchable so that people can go to the information right away without going through a bunch of other documents. So far, um, how is everyone feeling? Does it make sense? You th-
Yeah, I'll just add a comment here that this is applicable in all realms of your business. I'll give you an example of sustainability. We have a current customer working with OpenAI. They're using it to take huge, complex reports, case studies, and some of the team members are here on the call today. And you know how difficult it was to go through that and do search through it and parse through it to give some detail. Now, with summaries, it's become so much more easier. You're able to get a small summary or an abstract, and that reduces the time it takes to do all of that research. It narrows down the number of possibilities and the number of, like minutes you go through a TLDR article to find something right in there. And imagine it's for sustainability. So can I learn from that and derive benchmarks and patterns and things? It's so exciting because you can use it for recommendations, for creating new design patterns, wherever you're planning to use it for smart buildings, sustainable buildings, all of those scenarios. So Bala, I think with that, we should jump directly into the demo and show them some real examples, right? That'll be great.
Absolutely. So, is there any other questions or okay? Can you all see the screen? Okay, perfect. So this is a simple demo that we put together to showcase like what the OpenAI API is available right now. So we are going to look at the GPT 3.0 models, and in the bottom, if you look at it, these are some of the sample text, but you can see the same API, how that one API is going to give me different outputs depending on the task. So we call it multi-model or multitask API. I'm using the Da Vinci model. I would, if you, I mean, if you guys don't mind, if you have anything to ask or summarize, or if you want to test out some questions, please put it in the chat window. And Viru, if you can monitor that and let me know. I can even type it and show you. So this is a real demo. So let's start with the first major functionality, summarize. This is basically like taking a corpus of data and sending it to the model and saying like, okay, now summarize the data and bring it back up, right? Now, if you can see, I have few restrictions in the model for right now on the amount of tokens that I can use. So it's going to come up with like few sentences. This is what a lot of people use this, especially with the large documents, call center. Like some of these call center emails and all go chain and chain, like 10 pages, 20 pages, summarizing what is that email chain is talking about. It's an amazing product. It can actually summarize and give it to you. Now, next comes is the technology side. So if I wanted to write a SQL statement and I don't know, but I can explain in plain English, say pull from PostgreSQL. I want you to pull it from employee, department, and salary. Of course, you give the column names, but what you do also do is you give the condition in a natural language and say, all I'm saying to the model is, okay, select. This is the kind of the hint or the indication. And then if you click, um, it is going to come up and it's going to show us a SQL statement. Now, yeah, Guru.
Yeah, please complete this
Okay.
thought and then I'll
So
tell you.
this demo, it is real time. I am sending it to the API. So it's not mock demo. I want you guys to see the differences. Now, the same question that you're going to send it in, you may or may not get the same answer. Okay. Because it's generative AI. Then, yeah, go ahead, Viru.
Yeah, there was a question in the chat about vulnerability summary, getting a summary of vulnerability of the code. If you type in a bunch of code, can it respond back with some analysis?
Okay. If you have the text and the code ready, we can test it out and see. If
Yeah,
not,
this one doesn't have code, but you can just use your existing code there, right? On the right side, the output, and just ask for those questions. There's one more question which is kind of interesting, but we'll come to that as soon as you're done with this.
okay, let me cover this first, and then we'll test
Sure,
that. Keep that in
sure.
the
Yeah.
queue for us. Okay. The next one is like this is also very. I've done personally done few projects on this. The reason is like we collect a lot of text, free form text, even in databases or even in documents, even in websites and things like that. And if I wanted to categorize corpus of text, I can actually give a sample of what the categories are going to be, and then provide the text and say like, okay, classify it as categories for me. And if I send this to the model is going to come back and say like, hey, here is the category that I defined. Makes sense. So we can even pull the data from the web and ask it, and it'll do a pretty awesome job. Now this one is very interesting. I really like this a lot because we it's very hard to extract any proper information in a certain format from an free flowing text. Whereas this API has an option where I can specify the top text in here, like it's talking about like, pour units, which are bright green color. It's talking about like fruit color and flavor and things like that, right? Now from there, what I'm saying is I'm telling the model like, okay, can you take a table and summarize it in this fashion? Um, so I'm saying fruit color and then flavor and giving some samples. So now when I send it to the model, it will look at the top text, and then it is going to actually see it. It even followed the same format that it wants to spit out. So this is pretty awesome. Like I mean, I have done like free forming text, and if you want to pick up product information, product categories, and product subcategories and properties and things like that, this helps me a lot. This one is one of the less used, which is classification. Like you can actually take some information and bucket it into either technology or industry or things like that. And then in this case, we are using like we're saying like Facebook, Uber, McDonald's, and we are giving them some samples. And then we are saying like, okay, what would FedEx be? And if you look at it, it's going to come back and say logistics. See, it figured it out pretty good. Now, this is all available inside your Azure OpenAI in the GPT-3 model. There is one more interesting thing, which is the DALI. This is more of a fun rather than and then like not many use cases I haven't seen for DALI yet, but it is good for creative minds to create something new. So if you describe a scenario, it is going to create an image for you. So this is generative AI. So if I hit it again, it will create a completely different image. But this is available in private preview. If you have use case, please reach out to us. Would like to talk to you guys about it and see where and how we can help you.
Can you,
So far,
Bala,
this is the
Just for fun in DALI, go back to DALI. Can you
yeah.
just type in theory of relativity in images? Theory of relativity. Someone asked this question there. Theory of relativity in images. And you can copy the same text and we'll use it in the other portion also, the text part. And let's see what it comes up with. So it came up with something. You hit generate again, perhaps it will give you another cool, different response. So this just
Correct.
shows you the generative nature of these models. If you go back, we can do it with text now. Let's go and put the same thing, theory of relativity in simple words. In simple words, yeah.
So here, let's look at some of your samples if you have, and you can see like how the model is going to perform. This is one of them. The other one I would like to show you guys is like this is something Viru and me are working on. Like, say for example, if you want to ask a question, you can take the content from the website, and you can actually here. I just copied the content, and that content is coming from, I think, Wikipedia, right?
Yeah. This is
Yeah,
from their
Wikipedia.
online websites or Wikipedia. It's coming from
Right.
public websites, right? So you can generate summaries on that, and then you can ask questions also, and it'll give even more interesting answers every
Why
time.
is it not pasting?
Now just generate this first, I think, Bala. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you can ask this too. Doesn't matter. Yeah.
Okay.
Doesn't
So
matter. Yeah, it will
so
ask.
the basic idea that what we are doing is we are saying like, okay, here is your from below text. Let's see. So idea is like provide a sample data set. This could be your current information, and then you can actually go and ask the model to, okay, now customize this, right? Uh, and you can say like, okay, look at this. I don't know why it is not. Let's see whether what did I do. Okay. Uh, I wanted to show you guys this because not
You can
everything.
just keep it simple. Yeah. Bala, just keep it simple and type the first part, which is how do I book a cruise ship in Italy, near Italy.
Right.
Just keep it simple. You don't have to put any text. It will go pick up from there too.
Yeah, both. This one shows you how you can actually pass your own data and ask this to pick up. And the other one that Viru is talking about is like, I can just say like, okay, come here and just ask a question, and it'll also pick it up. Both are possible. Um,
And
and
the
now we
interesting
can
thing
actually.
is, yeah, the interesting thing is that you can put exclusions in this saying that, hey, if it is not recent, if it is not from 2023, then say, I don't know, and it will respond back accordingly. But if it is 2021 or before, data coming from different sources, it will give you that kind of input.
Great. So someone was asking, okay, here.
Yeah, there's many questions popping up, so I'm assuming, Subhranshu, you're handling it.
So here is a sample. Like, I mean, this is a day in my life. Like,
Yes, and most of
uh,
the questions are most of the folks are asking questions to be asked through the demo.
Through the chat GPT demo. Okay.
Yeah.
do you mind pick something
So
and let's look at
yeah,
that.
we'll only random sample can be picked up.
There are quite
So
a few.
someone asked me, like, look at it. I asked it to write a code. It wrote a code, and then someone asked me, can you find vulnerabilities, right?
Yeah.
Okay, what was the question?
Yeah. What can you do a vulnerability analysis on a piece of code? So this is all the live part, guys. So bear with us. We have to enter this, but you can play around with this on your own as well. We are using the DaVinci GPT 3.0 model here.
Here you go. So as you can see, the power of the model. This model can write data science code, PySpark, JavaScript, and things like that. Yes, of course, I'm using GPT-3, but you also have Codex model available definitely to do it. What are the other things, Subhranshu, you have? What do you want me to ask?
So Branshu, which one is your favorite question?
I would say that if there is more likes in one question, then we can do. But I see that one of the question latest posted, write unit tests for a function.
Unit test for a function. Yeah, Arun Krishnan. Okay. You can ask it to create a whole project plan for you on how to do unit testing. You can give me some sample test scripts, and it'll go through that.
Here you go. It gave you a sample code. We can also ask it to write a business plan. My most favorite is like, okay, What are some use cases for Azure OpenAI? I'm learning it. I'm learning from the API itself what I can do. This is another one. Like Viru said, it can actually write like a business plan.
Yeah, let's say you're about to release a new product in the market and you give it the constraints of what kind of product. Is it a search engine optimization engine? What is it, right? And then say, give me the best approach to go through it in less than 2 months, and it will give you that response.
Correct. So as you can see, it did write me a nice business case. For people like me who struggle in English, this is an awesome tool. I don't have to check with grammars and things like that. Write a pilot for a new web series along the lines of Vikings. Wow,
Nice.
Arun,
I like that
you,
Viking show. There
yeah,
is this the History
Sorry,
Channel Vikings? Yeah.
wow,
Bala, sorry, interrupt you. So, you are what there are the six model down you showed that the start here kind of. So when you input in OpenAI, what model it actually selecting out of that six, or you are actually have predefined model below that arrow button?
awesome question. So only one model. I'm using the DaVinci 003. Uh, all these inputs that we are sending is only going to that one model. That's it.
Is that just for the demo, or you can choose models when we actually use it?
Oh, for you guys, you can pick from Ada, Babbage, Curie, and DaVinci. It's
Okay.
up to you.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And
For us to show you the demo, I wanted to make it just instead of switching between, I just use only the best, the DaVinci one.
Thank you. Yeah.
Eugene, we
Mhm.
do have other demos in which we can just switch around the models and test it around. So we do it for our own Foundry as well, AI Foundry, internally to improve the models. And you can do the same, right? You can put a drop down and say, now give me the result with Babbage instead.
Nice. Thank you.
Now, now I don't know how many of you have seen actually ChatGPT. This is our Bing version of ChatGPT. If you haven't gotten access to it, please try to get access. It's bing.com/new. Sign up, and they will provide access for you guys. Check this out. This is the
Can you,
ChatGPT version.
Bala, if you don't mind, can you go to the main screen first for Bing.com and show them how to get here? Because some people are struggling to find that. Just go to a new tab and say Bing.com. Yeah.
So if you come to bing.com, click on the chat over here. Once you're whitelisted, your chat option will be available in the top. If you click, it will actually take you to the chat screen. And then this is the one that has the reinforcement learning with human loop. Make sure that test it out, give us feedback however you feel. You will see this will take some time because it is going to look and search, and then it is going to create the content for us. I know. I mean, how are we doing in terms of time?
I mean, the most interesting thing is that control button that you see there. Is it supposed to be more precise or more creative? If it is balanced, it gives you a brief response. If you say more precise, it will give you a specific bullet list, only 2 or 3 items, right? So it can get really, really creative depending on how you want to use it in your particular situation. So
Yeah,
in
I
terms
didn't show
of
you
time,
one more thing.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
will.
Bala, in terms of time, we have 7 minutes left. So if you want to go back or show them some of the other pieces, right, that we had in
Bella,
our FAQ,
we
that would be
yeah,
good.
we had a few questions in the chat coming through about how to use the codex modeling in VS Code. If and I know Bala, you mentioned that that's something that you do. I don't know if you could speak to that before we move on.
Yeah. So GitHub Copilot, definitely get that because GitHub Copilot has Codex model already built in. I really wanted to show you this because this is my best cool feature. So just keep this in in your back pockets. Copilot is extremely very good. The reason is like it is part of Visual Studio Code. You install it as an extension, and you have to get GitHub Copilot. I think it's in the enterprise license. And what it does is like once you open up Visual Studio Code, and if you're writing a function, like if you say def main, and then it'll trying to fill up, and you can just hit tab and it'll fill it up. Or you can actually say like pound, and you can say like write a function code for doing summation, and the parameters are x and y, and it'll automatically take that and it'll create a def sum, and then it'll pass input x y, and then it'll do x plus y and return it out. So it will, the model is capable of writing that specific code. Now the code snippets are given, but we still have to, test it, run it, and make sure that it is making sure that the environment variables are set and it is working. That part we have to do, but at least that's what the Copilot will help you. I use it for code, and I also use it for documentation a lot. Good question. There is no Copilot for Azure DevOps. Um,
It may come. Who knows? The world is the timeline is very short. Every product within Microsoft is trying to use these because it's improving the productivity of users, and so it might come into DevOps too. Who knows? I mean, I'm just trying to say that it's really, really moving fast. Every week we have new releases of features and functions. By the end of this month, you'll see an announcement coming. Then another month, another announcement. So please be ready for the onslaught of new applications and the use cases. You really need to focus on your use case. What do you want to do? And sign up for that through, like Bala, if you don't mind, can you go to the FAQ slide? I'd like to summarize with some of the most frequently asked questions that people are going to.
yes.
Like, how do
Just
you sign up for this? What is the security for this? What's the governance? All of these questions are being asked every day. We are getting hundreds of requests on how do we do this within our IT environment, and sometimes it's business driving the motion, sometimes it's IT driving the motion. So if you go to that FAQ slide, I'd like to show them that these are the common questions that you can click on. Each of these are links. So Branshu, thanks for making links over here. If you click on that, the square bracket or the underlined one, it will show you the specific detail. Like what I was just mentioning about was how to sign up for access. Then how do you set up for data privacy, security? How do you ensure there's administration through the OpenAI Studio that we have in Azure, or the command line interface? Fine tuning models, all of that is available in this form, and we can share these links individually as well with you if you don't want to wait for the whole presentation.
absolutely. And that's it, Hannah, for to you.
Yeah, so
We
going
Yeah.
to the survey page, that would be good. Yeah, if you point
yeah,
it
I'm
to the
going to
next one.
come
Yeah.
here. I know we are very close to the minute, right? So if you want more information, here are some people that you can. Oh, Hannah, you do it.
Yes, absolutely. So we don't want this to be the end of the conversation here. This is really just a mode of operate or a mode of transportation to get you to your account team to have a deeper conversation about how you can use Azure OpenAI service for your business. So I dropped a few links in the chat. One of them is the link to apply for the service. It is a gated service. So the team does take a week or two to review your use case and approve that request. So do know that there is about a 2-week delay in that approval. But once you get it, we can meet with you and your account team and help you to envision your use case and what that would look like to get you going. So without further ado, please submit your request if you have not done so already. And then last but not least, please provide your feedback. These engagements are here for you to deliver content that our customers are wanting to hear. So please um, click the link in the chat that I dropped a few moments ago, or scan the QR code here to provide your feedback for today. And our amazing presenters and chat moderators, thank you so much for taking the time to put this together. There was a lot of great information shared, and we had a wonderful audience. So great kickoff to our roadshow, and we hope to see you guys all at our next engagement next week. So looking forward to that. Have a great afternoon. And if there was anything we didn't address today, please make sure to drop that in the chat and we'll include it in our follow-up.
We are here for you. So please do communicate your interest. So Branshu, can you please close the poll results so everybody can
Yeah,
see the
I
result?
have closed the poll. Yeah, if you can
Okay,
click
so
on the result. Yeah.
excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you,
So
everybody. Appreciate the time.
thank you, everyone.